Hello everyone and welcome back to the Money Man. Now today I'm going to talk about my big passion in collecting paper notes, and that is Hong Kong dollars, particularly colonial era Hong Kong dollars. And I'm hoping that when I show you these notes, you'll start to really understand why I love them so much, because, well, just wait and see. So, what I'm going to do is show you many different banknotes from different decades during the colonial period. And what we'll do is we'll start off with quite recent notes and we'll work back. So, the first one I'm going to show you is actually from 1983, and it's a very typical 10 Hong Kong dollar note. And here it is. Now, this was produced by Hong Kong and Shanghai Banking Corporation, and they still produce banknotes for the Special Administrative Region of Hong Kong. But obviously, when the negotiations between Britain and China concluded with the idea that Hong Kong would be handed back to China, people knew that all the banknote designs would change. A lot of colonial imagery had to go. For instance, if you look down here, we've got the sigil or seal of colonial Hong Kong, and if we turn it on the back, again, they totally overhauled the design. They got rid of all the sort of colonial imagery, and people knew that was going to happen. So people basically started collecting their notes and keeping them. So these are very, very readily available, and they do not command any kind of real value in the collector market. But they are very, very nice nonetheless. And when I get an opportunity to pick up a really clean, crisp version, I always do so. So yeah, that's the first one. So the next one is from 1981, and this one is from the Chartered Bank, which is now Standard Chartered, and they still produce banknotes in Hong Kong. But this is from 1981, and you can see $10 note. If we flip it on the back, again you can see colonial era insignia here. Now, the design of this banknote actually didn't change too much after the handover in 1997. They just basically removed the colonial imagery and then replaced it with more sort of Hong Kong-centric imagery. But the design of this one remained relatively unchanged after the handover. So yeah. Now we're going a little bit further back in time. We're going to go to, or actually we'll stay around the same time. We'll go to 1982, so we'll jump 1 year forward. So I lied. We're not going to keep going back in time. We're going to jump around a little bit. Now this here is a 50 Hong Kong dollar bill from the Chartered Bank. Now these are quite desirable. They're not easy to get in good condition. Very, very, very beautiful notes. One of my personal favourites. If we turn it over, look at the back. Fantastic. Really nice colour scheme. Very bright. You can probably see why I paid a little bit of money to get hold of this one, because it's just in wonderful, wonderful condition. Really, really clear features on it. The embossing is very good on this as well. If I took it out and felt it, you'd be able to feel the sort of ink lines in it. And yeah, super good. One of the gems of my collection. Okay, let's keep moving on. So we're going to go a little bit further back in time, and we're going to go to, let's see, I think what we'll do is we'll go back to 1975. Let's do that. So, here we go. 5 Hong Kong dollar bill, 1975. Pretty nice. By the Chartered Bank. And again, on the reverse. And let's keep moving. Here's the $10 note from the same period by the Chartered Bank. Very similar to the 5, but with a different image on the back. Really, really nice. Really, really clear. This one is as close to uncirculated as you get. The value of this note is quite good. I was worried that it'd been washed at first, but I actually took it to an expert, and he felt it, he had a good look at it, and he said it's definitely almost uncirculated, perhaps uncirculated. So that's pretty good for a note that was produced around the mid-1970s. So yeah, pretty good note. Let's keep going. So the next one is going to be from we're going to jump back forward, 1982. Now, this one is very typical, quite easy to find, doesn't command much in the collector market, but it's a 100 Hong Kong dollar note produced by the Hong Kong and Shanghai Banking Corporation. And like I said, these are fairly common, especially from the late 80s. People started keeping hold of them in anticipation of the handover, and they don't really command too much of a value unless you get like a really good serial number. What I would note about this one is it's been pressed. So that means somebody's flattened it to try and remove the crease. That significantly reduces its value. So this one is it's a very cheap note. It looks nice. I just wanted it to add to my collection just so I could say I have it, but there is no chance that I'm going to make any money on this whatsoever. So let's keep going. Now we're going to go back to 1974. And here we've got another 100 Hong Kong dollar note, but this is produced by a bank, or was produced by a bank that no longer exists, called the Mercantile Bank. And this one, they only produce $100 notes, and they've got 2 series of $100 notes, and they are very desirable. This is the cheaper of the 2, but it's still not cheap, if you get me. So this is one of my favorite notes, and I waited so long to get hold of one of these. This one is not in great condition. I have a feeling it's been pressed as well, which again reduces its value. You can see that there are paper folds here and here. So, but still, it's still quite a valuable note, very desirable here in Hong Kong. So, yeah, there we go. Now, let's go back to the 60s. Let's see. Now, I've got 3 of the same note here. This one is from 1962, again from the Chartered Bank. And you can see the style changing, becoming sort of more classical. And most of these notes were actually produced by Thomas De La Rue and Company, which was, still is situated in England. And they produce a lot of currency for different areas around the world. And they were very heavily involved in creating currency for Britain's expanding empire. They produced basically money for places like Sarawak, the British Malay colonies, which Sarawak was a part of, Singapore, Hong Kong, you name it. They produce money for all over the place. And not just the British Empire, they also produce money for other countries as well. So if we turn it around, look at the back. This one's quite a valuable note, very nice. And then I've got another one, put them next to each other. And then I've got another one, which has been verified, so this one's quite nice. So I know exactly that this is choice about uncirculated, so there's no guesswork with this. This has been verified by Paper Money Guarantee, and it's brilliant for collectors that these guys exist, because although they do sometimes get things wrong, they're pretty reliable. So if you pick something up that's been PMG guaranteed, you know you're getting the real thing, the real McCoy. So, pretty good. Now, let's keep going. We're going to go back even earlier. We're going to go back to sort of like the late 1940s, early 1950s with a 1 Hong Kong dollar note. Here we go. So this was produced by the government of Hong Kong for general circulation. And the $1 note, well, it survived for quite a long time, actually. There's also a series of issues with Queen Elizabeth II on. And obviously when the value of the note decreased so much, they just basically stopped producing it and converted it into a coin. But yeah, this note has been pressed as well, which reduces its value, but still not worthless, still pretty good value. I actually picked this up really cheap. This was a steal. So I can definitely make a cheeky profit on this, but I will not sell it. And then we're going into a really sort of a tumultuous time in Hong Kong's history. We're going back to the Second World War and the Japanese invasion of Hong Kong, which happened on the same day that the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. So if we have a look here, we've got what we call emergency issue currency. And this is a tiny little thing. This is a Government of Hong Kong 1 cent note. And it's in uncirculated condition. It's an absolute beauty. I love these notes so much. And not only do I love the colour scheme and the design of them, but the circumstances which brought them into existence is just really interesting. So basically, when the Japanese invaded China in the mid-30s, they continued to basically raid and pillage, and many Chinese citizens sought refuge as the Japanese advanced And the Chinese citizens saw Hong Kong as a place of safe refuge, obviously because Hong Kong was part of the British Empire. And at that time, Great Britain and Japan, the Empire of Japan, were not at war. So in the late 1930s, up to 3 million Chinese people moved into Hong Kong, and the population of the colony just kept growing and growing and growing. And this created a real shortage of low value, low denomination money. So the government of Hong Kong decided to print its own emergency money to deal with the shortage of paper currency in the colony. And these are a result of them. So these were actually discontinued after 1945. The 1 cent was still produced, but it never looked like this before the 1940s, and it never looked like it after 1945. So they were basically only produced and used for about 4.5 years, which I think makes them extra special. And I've got another one, which is a 5 cent. Here it is. Gorgeous. These are gorgeous. I love them. There is a 10 cent, which I don't have, but I'm probably going to pick that up next month. It's a little bit pricey. You're probably going to pay somewhere around £30, 320 Hong Kong dollars for a 10 cent note in almost uncirculated condition. So it's pretty pricey for something so small, but I love these notes so much that there's no doubt I'll be getting hold of them. So that is just a small selection of my collection of colonial era Hong Kong dollars, and I think they're absolutely exquisite. I'm going to continue collecting them, and for many, 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 many years to come, I hope. And yeah, so that's it. If you want to have a look at even more colonial era Hong Kong notes that I have, please go down to the description. You can find a link to my Facebook page. You can find all the images there. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and watch out for more updates coming along in the near future. Thank you so much for listening today. Have a wonderful day. It's the Money Man signing out for now. Bye-bye.